Have you ever looked in the mirror and felt like a stranger was staring back at you? No praise, no applause, just silence. That's the moment most people give up, but this is the story of someone who didn't. In a small American town, there lived a young man named Parker. He wasn't rich, he wasn't famous, but he had something most people lose too early: a dream. Parker was a painter. Not a celebrated artist, not a social media star, just a guy who believed that maybe, one day, his colors could speak louder than his words. Every evening, after finishing his shift at a local hardware store, he'd come home, drop his dusty boots, and walk into his little studio. A cramped room filled with paint-stained canvases, flickering light, and unfinished hopes. He painted with his heart wide open, and yet his world stayed painfully quiet. Every night he'd stare at the mirror in front of him, waiting for something. A nod, a sign, a voice saying, "You're good enough." But the mirror said nothing. His parents wanted him to be practical. "Art won't pay the bills, Parker. Get a real job." His friends stopped visiting. "Always busy painting," they said. And his social media? 2 likes. One from him, and one from a spam account pretending to sell art supplies. Silence. That's all he ever got. And silence, when it stretches too long, it starts to sound like failure. One cold night, after another rejection email from an art gallery, Parker stood in front of his easel, brush in hand, and froze. He whispered to himself, "What's the point? No one cares." He turned toward the mirror and asked, "Why don't you ever say something back?" But in that silence, he realized something powerful. The mirror wasn't broken. His belief was. That night, Parker painted again, but this time, not for the world, for himself. He poured every wound, every memory, every sleepless night into the canvas. He didn't care about technique. He didn't care about perfection. He just created. When the painting was done, he didn't look in the mirror. He just smiled, because for the first time, he didn't need anyone's approval to feel proud. 1 year later, that very painting, the one he made for himself, hung in a New York gallery. People stood for hours staring at it in silence. Some cried, some whispered, some smiled. A journalist asked him, "Parker, what inspired this masterpiece?" He replied softly, "Silence. The kind that once made me doubt myself now reminds me who I am." You see, the mirror on your wall might never talk, but that doesn't mean you're not enough. It just means you've been waiting for validation in the wrong place. Because sometimes the loudest applause you'll ever need is the one you give yourself when no one else does. Believe in your voice, even when it shakes. Believe in your dream, even when it's silent. And remember this, your belief isn't supposed to echo back. It's supposed to rise from within. If this story touched your heart, give it a like, share it with someone who needs hope, and subscribe to Tales in English for more stories that inspire you to keep believing even when the world goes quiet.